Acceleration. Perpetual motion. Speed and velocity.
Formula. Speed.
Acceleration. Circular motion. If you whirl a weight around on a piece of string, you have to pull on the string to keep the weight in circular motion. This pulling creates a central force called a centripetal force. The circular motion results from the force acting inward along the string. There is always a central force responsible for the circular. Gyroscope. Precession. Resonant. All objects vibrate with a particular frequency or regularity. The swinging of a pendulum is an obvious movement, but the particles that make up any object vibrate too. Resonance results when the vibrations of an object are matched with similar vibrations. That is why soldiers never march in time over a bridge. In 1940, a newly built suspension bridge collapsed during a storm over the Tacoma Narrows in Washington state. The design had not allowed sufficiently for the effect of resonance. The vibrations of the strong winds matched the natural vibrations of the concrete bridge, causing it to resonate. The resonance increased the twisting and turning motion of the bridge until it broke up and fell into the river below. What is force? The push or pull that starts an object moving is a force. Forces not only make things move, they can also speed up or slow down a moving object, make it change direction, or even distort its shape. Generally,
Formula. Force.
gravity. The force of gravity acts between any two bodies of matter. Everything on Earth, including your body, is pulled down. Out in space, there is no gravity, and astronauts must learn to live with weightlessness. This film shows astronauts on the U.S. research station, Skylab, which was launched into permanent orbit around the Earth in 1973. Astronauts lived on this station for months, studying the effect of weightlessness on the human system, living cells, and other materials. The results of these experiments have been used to develop new medicines and technologies. Pressure. You put pressure on something when you apply a force to it. The amount of pressure depends on two things: the size of the force, and more importantly, the size of the area on which it is applied. The smaller the area. What is motion? Everything in the world is dynamic. The study of dynamics. Circular motion. Resonant. What is force?
Angles. Angles are formed where two straight lines meet. They can be measured using a protractor or an angle indicator. Angles are measured in units called degrees. What is trigonometry? The branch of mathematics that deals with the relationships between the sides and We know that the sum of the angles in any triangle is 180 degrees. It is fairly easy to figure out the size of the missing angle, C, in a triangle, provided we know the size of the other two angles. If we add together angle A, which is 35 degrees, and angle B, which is 90 degrees, we get a total of 125 degrees. All we have to do to find angle C is take 125 degrees away from 180 degrees. This tells us that angle C must be 55 degrees. Angles. Angles are formed where two straight lines meet. This is an example of an acute angle. That is, one of less than 90 degrees. This is a right angle.
Color on TV. You can see how secondary colors are created when spotlights of the primary colors overlap and become mixed. When you mix red light with an equal amount of blue light, you create a secondary color called magenta. When you mix blue light with an equal amount of green light, you create a secondary color called cyan. More surprisingly, when you mix red light equally with green light, the secondary color you create is yellow. If you mix all three primary colors in equal amounts, you create pure white light. Spectrum. White light is a combination of lights of different colors: red, orange, yellow. Images. An image is a representation. Reflection. Rays of light, like all forms of energy that travel in waves, can be reflected. Refraction. Refraction is a property of all types of energy that travel in waves, including light. Light waves normally travel in laser. The word laser stands for light. Holograms. What is light? The form of energy that illuminates our world is called light. Color. The three spectrum. White light is a common color. The three primary colors.
What are numbers? The ancient Egyptians were using special symbols known as pictographs to write down numbers. By rotating these Hindu-Arabic numerals, we can begin to recognize some familiar shapes. This shape becomes a 2, and this shape becomes a 7. Fraction. A fraction is a part of a whole. We have divided this cake into fifths. This is 1/5. These are 2/5. These are 3/5.
Electromagnetism. Electricity and magnetism. Magnets are attracted to iron and electromagnetism.
What is an element? An element. Metals. Metals. Non-metals. Only. What is an
Nutrition. The way that organisms excretion. The chemical reactions that take place inside cells. Growth. Reproduction. All living things eventually die. In order to prevent whole groups of organisms from dying,
Aristotle. In the 4th century BC in Greece, there were only a few schools, and Henri Becquerel, French physicist Henri Becquerel, was one of the first. Alexander G. Bell, the inventor of the telephone, Alexander Graham Bell. Niels Bohr. Danish physicist Niels Bohr became famous for creating a new way of picturing the structure of the atom. Robert Boyle. Born in Lismore, Ireland, Boyle became well known in his lifetime for his research in physical chemistry. Francis Crick. English biologist Francis Crick is noted for his co-discovery of the structure of DNA, deoxyribonucleic. Marie Curie. Polish-born physicist Marie Curie and her French husband Pierre are famous for their work. Pierre Curie. Born in Paris. Charles Darwin. The English naturalist Charles Darwin is celebrated for conceiving the theory. René Descartes. Also known by his Latin name, Renatus Cartesius, René Descartes was a French philosopher and mathematician. Thomas Edison. The American inventor Thomas Edison lived and worked in the United States all his life. He was the most productive inventor ever. During his lifetime, he patented 1,093 different inventions, including the incandescent electric lamp, similar to the ordinary light bulb we know. Albert Einstein. The work of German-born mathematician and physicist Euclid. The Greek mathematician Euclid worked in Alexandria, Egypt. Michael Faraday.
the solar system, the sun and the 9 planets in orbit around the universe, the Big Bang, stars. There are billions of stars in the universe.
The periodic table. Boron. Boron. Phosphorus. Uranium. Strontium.
Food and digestion. Organisms need food for energy, growth, and repair of old and damaged tissues. Most animals eat plants or response to the environment. Defenses against maintaining life.